Hello, I'm Reverend Kenny Callahan, the pastor of Metropolitan Community Church of Richmond. The sacred text for this coming Sunday's service is taken from Mark's story, the 11th chapter, verses 1 to 11. This sacred text is the story of Jesus entering Jerusalem for the very first time. The city was filled with people and very crowded because it was Passover. Jesus, in preparation for his trip, sends the disciples ahead of him to find a colt to borrow for a short time. And they find one exactly as Jesus said. The disciples threw their clothes on the colt for Jesus to ride on into Jerusalem. People spread their clothes on the road as Jesus came into Jerusalem, just like a red carpet. They also cut leafy branches and were waving them, and they shouted, "Hosanna," which means save us. It's easy to see that something big was happening in Jerusalem. And as I thought about this story, I began to wonder what I could say about Palm Sunday that I haven't said before. What could I say that might trigger a new way for people to think about and experience the divine? Before long, I started thinking about the changes and the realities that we're experiencing in our world. COVID vaccines and booster shots are making it possible for people to return to a somewhat normal life with little fear of being infected with COVID. The war in Ukraine continues to rage out of control, reminding us of the importance of democracy versus having a dictator ruler. Many people are over the top excited and anticipating the final Senate confirmation hearings and vote to affirm Judge Jackson as the first Black woman to sit on the Supreme Court. And in church world, we are all preparing for Palm Sunday, for Holy Week, and the festive celebration on Easter Sunday. There's a lot going on with a variety of motives and realities. And as we prepare, can we stop and take a closer look at what we are preparing for? Were the disciples and the crowds preparing for a parade or a revolution? Were they preparing to meet a new leader who would rule with power and might? Or were they anticipating the reign of God in their lives in a new way? As others prepared to betray and kill Jesus, Jesus focused on his death in preparation for his resurrection. Perhaps Pilate and the other soldiers prepared for things to return to normal once the crowds were gone after Passover. Perhaps some of the religious leaders and even Jesus' own disciples thought things would go back to whatever their normal was and things that were familiar in their life, while Jesus was preparing for something new. But first, everything old had to pass away. The question is, are we preparing to simply experience life in the same old fashion? Or are we opening ourselves up for God to come in a new way, for us to experience something new in the divine, something that might take even longer than this season holds?